We're live. Hello, good evening, and welcome to the Real Estate Plate. Are we actually working? Is the audio actually working today? You can? All right. As long as you can hear me. As long as somebody could hear me. They haven't shut down WGBB yet.
No, you're doing all right.
It's funny that we started off that way with a couple of technical issues because that's basically going to be the premise of the show today. But before I get into that, hello, good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Real Estate Plate. As always, I'm your host, Nick Sakalis, coming to you live from the WGBB studios here in Merrick, New York. And I know the show's called the Real Estate Plate, and for the most part, we talk all real estate, everything that has to do with the real estate world. And we're going to continue doing that. And obviously, there's going to be a real estate show. But I think it would be a little bit negligent from my end as somebody that's broadcasting on public radio waves to not at least mention what has been happening over the past week since last Wednesday. Because a lot of things have changed since last Monday, since we were live on the radio. And what happened with the Capitol, which I'm still at a loss for words for what happened. And I don't think anybody out there condones what has happened there. And I'm not going to dive into that because I said it's not. I'm not even going to get into right, wrong, good, bad, and everything in between. Because the truth is, it was a dark day in history. And it was something that I know that maybe even my daughter's, who's 5 years old right now, books by the time she gets into high school. Because that I don't think it was expected, and it was something that situation of what was expected to go down that day. That being said, like I said, I'm not turning this into a political show. We're not going to talk about what happened at that point. You want me to discuss that? I'll discuss that off the air, and maybe I'll even do a live stream to discuss it. But I'm not going to crowd the Real Estate Plate radio show time with that, because 1 hour is definitely not enough to be able to dive into it, to discuss it as well as you can. And at the same time, I don't want to get censored and talk about anything like that that could get me into trouble, or Trevor into trouble, or FCC getting down on our backs and having WGBB getting fined, and our manager here, Jeff, going ballistic. We're not going to do that today. But what I will talk about, and this is an after effect of what happened from Wednesday's events, and that's the reaction from big tech. And I'm really disturbed with this whole situation. I believe it or not, I had a whole show set up ready prior to even last week's show. I knew already what I was going to be discussing today. I was going to be discussing what to expect under Biden as far as real estate ramifications. And I will get into that in a future show. But what happened this week, especially coming from big tech, one, rattled me, completely disturbed me. I think it disturbed a lot of people. And I'm using the word disturb because I'm trying again to use nice words. Is that still acceptable word, Trevor?
Yeah, it is.
We could say disturbed.
Yeah, sure.
I'm just making sure because I can't say anything anymore. Maybe I should wear my mask all the time so I could be muffled like this because you can't say anything anymore. Anything you say could be used against you. It could be taken in a very different context, and I'm really bothered by that. Right, like really, really, really bothered. Like I need to be able to express myself freely, and that's one of the greatest things that um, this country has provided for me my whole life, and it's provided that for a lot of other people. And let me just explain to everybody of why I'm taking this approach right now. For everybody that's been in the closet or has been hiding under a rock for the past week or so, big tech has made major moves and major things um, in regards to censoring and taking out the competition. And what I mean by that is they have gone after, well, Twitter specifically, first of all, had started to uh, shut down people's accounts. That's one thing. They started picking and choosing what they like and what they didn't like. And here's the thing I can't say anything about what Twitter's doing because they're a private company and they have the right, because they are a private company, to choose who they allow to be a consumer or a client of theirs or not. So it's their right. Same way, it's the right of everybody that's using the platform to either use it or not use it. Very simple. Nobody's putting a gun against your head to use Twitter or not. However, what I don't like that's happening more than anything else is the fact that it seems like an organized effort, almost like a coup right now by all the big boys, all the big tech companies out there to shut down the competition. And that's Parlor. Now, funny thing is, I actually just opened up an account of Parlor over the weekend just to start testing it out because that's what I do. I test out all the applications, I test out all the social media platforms, I test out everything to see if it works, if I could implement in my business, if it's worth it, if it's not worth it, if there's enough of a following, if it's better or not, whatever the case. I test things out, and I always give my um, reactions and my opinions about the software and the applications to the public and letting you know if it's worth your while or not. Same way I did with TikTok months ago. I tried it out. For me personally, it was the most terrible experience out there. I'm too old for it. You got to be 5 or 10. I don't know. How old do you have to be to use that? It just doesn't work for me. But for other people, it's the greatest thing on earth. So the same way I tried to attempt to use that months ago, I attempted to use Parlor. So I started getting a little familiar with it. And for the most part, it's a very similar type of platform that you have on whatchamacallit, Twitter. Very, very similar. Not many differences. Is that as good as Twitter is? No, it's not as refined. It's not as polished as Twitter is. I'll say that much. It really isn't. But that's okay. It doesn't have to be. It gave you an alternative to Twitter. If you don't like Twitter, or for one reason or another you can't use Twitter, at least you have that other platform that you can use. And maybe down the line it'll get just as big and better, and it'll get more refined, and the technology gets better, whatever the case is. At least you had an option. So this is what ended up happening. And again, hang in with me. I know this is a real estate show, and I'll get into the angle of how this affects real estate. Just hang in so I can finish my premise. What Twitter, not necessarily Twitter specifically, did by itself, but what it started was a chain reaction. It started to block people that it deemed worthy or not worthy of being on their platform. And they decided to say what is acceptable, what is not acceptable. And that's up for debate. That really is up for debate because honestly, what people say on Twitter is outrageous from any spectrum. It doesn't matter if you're left or you're right, whatever the case. You got to see some of the crazy stuff if you're not watching this stuff all the time. And honestly, I shut it off because I don't want to watch it all the time and listen to read the feeds all the time because they're nuts. There's a lot of crazy people out there. A lot of crazy people. And it doesn't matter what side of the spectrum, what part of the spectrum you're from. There's crazy people from all sides. And they put crazy stuff on there. But for some reason, Twitter decides this is crazy, this is not crazy, this is disturbing, this is not disturbing, this is deranged, this is not deranged, this is offensive, this is not offensive. I find a lot of stuff that they leave on there extremely offensive. I don't know who, in their infinite wisdom, is the deciding factor of what is appropriate or not, but they decide to take that route. So they decided to really shut it down, and one of the major high profile individuals that they ended up shutting down was obviously our president, Donald Trump. Well, what happened immediately right after, or almost immediately right after, Trump decides to actually open up a Parler account. Whether you agree with his messages or not, that's what he did. To be able to have a platform, to be able to put out some, messages, whatever he wanted to put out. So as that is happening, all of a sudden, big tech started to rear its head. Started off with Apple. Apple decided, we're going to take you off our app store. That meaning Parler. Why? Because we want you to change your settings, and we want to make sure that you're regulating everybody that's posting things on there. This, to some extent, is understandable if you're putting things that are inciting people, that are causing criminal acts, and that's I get that. It's the same concept. If you run into a movie theater and you scream fire, it's a criminal offense. But here's the thing: part of the backing of what Parler was all about is to give people a uncensored type of platform. Again, there is some moderation, and there was things that were acceptable and not acceptable to Parler, but for the most part, it was open. Again, I'm not going to really get into some of the things that are being said because on Parler, there's a lot of things that are offensive as well. But people say them, whether you like it or not, and they have their way of being able to speak as they like. The same way I'm speaking on this microphone and I am relaying my message and I'm giving my thoughts out to the people. Again, they're PG thoughts. I'm being as nice about it as possible because there could be kids listening. There could be people that find things very offensive. You want to be nice with whatever you say, especially in the public. Now, if it was a paid station, whatever the case is, and I'll get into that in a second. Whatever the case is, then you'll basically hear whatever people really want to say. But that being said, by Apple taking off Parler from their app store, what they ended up doing was eliminating Twitter's number one competitor. Number one. And took away one of the most powerful places where Parler could have been found. Right now, as far as my data shows, Apple controls about 46% of the mobile device market. Almost half. So if you eliminate almost half of the mobile device market, what are you going to do to the company? Parler's $1 billion company. They're not like some like ant that just became relevant. They had a platform. They had a legitimate business platform. And Apple single-handedly attacked them, and I'm going to call it an attack, and took away one of their major sources of income. Now, you could say Apple did this out of ethics. Apple did this because it was the right thing. Apple did this because it was the right thing to do. But this is coming from a company that ethically doesn't have other problems. It has no issue doing other things that are heinous. Basically, hiring slave labor internationally and over in Asia, they don't have a problem with that. And they don't have a problem with a lot of other issues that they end up doing. But they have a problem with Parler existing. Okay. So what happens a little bit after that? Google Play decides to take them off as well. So now you lost every single platform that you own. And then to put the cherry on top, what ends up happening? Amazon gets into the picture. The big boy, the monster, gets into the mix. And what does Amazon do? Shuts down Parler servers, their main means of being able to operate. So now you can't find Parler on any platform, whether it's mobile, whether it's on a website, whether anywhere on the internet. It doesn't exist. Sounds fishy to me. It sounds like they're using this as an excuse to wipe out the competition. Or there's powers above, powers beyond that are basically telling us that we don't want people talking freely. We don't want people doing things like this. And now what? I'm putting myself into jeopardy right now by saying this on YouTube. For some reason, Facebook shut me down. I don't know why it shut me down, but the stream is still going on YouTube right now. Could be that they didn't like what I was saying. And the funny thing is, I don't even think I mentioned Facebook yet. But I will. Something is definitely wrong right now. Why am I so enraged? One, because look, I'm in a radio station right now. I'm stating my opinion. I'm speaking freely right now. I'm in America. I'm on the public airwaves. But if this could be done to a major corporation, a major company like Parler, what do you think that the powers beyond, the powers above, can possibly do to a little rinky-dink station like WGBB? They'll step on us. They'll crush us like a cockroach. YouTube, if they don't like what I'm saying on the waves right now, they could shut me down. They could take down my videos. They could do one thing. They could do another thing. And it's unsettling. It's really, really unsettling. Trevor, my friend here, a lot of times your content has to do with gospel music, right?
And they shut me down too.
They shut you down?
Yeah.
Did they really?
Yeah.
Now, is that true? Or are you just like, are you trying to rile me up right now by saying this, or is it true?
No, I wouldn't lie to you like that. Yeah, wait for 1 hour. After 1 hour, you start to see the red lights start coming on top there. And next thing I know, But when they mute my program for a
Wait,
while.
put on the speaker if you can. So I want the audience to be able to hear this.
No, I was saying, with 1 hour, as soon as I start to record, they shut me down, and they didn't mute my video for at least 2 or 3 days.
Are you serious right now?
Nah, I could go back and tell them and show you. I ain't lying.
And this is your show specifically.
My show. I always say,
Have they done it to any other shows here?
That's what I say. I say if I was saying something crazy, if I would allow me to do that, but I'm telling you, I get frustrated all the time when you do that.
You just blew my mind. I was giving a rhetorical, and I was just giving a hypothetical type of situation. And you're telling me right now they actually did do what I was saying. For anybody listening right now, this was not premeditated. I didn't know this actually happened to Trevor. I was just pulling him out just to keep him, somehow, isolated.
It's my show right here. Your video is part of the movie.
Holy crap. Now you got a camera. Now we're going to get, Cuomo's going to get after us because you weren't wearing a mask. As if I didn't need anything else. Now you got that going on too. Are you serious? Holy crap. And that was Facebook that shut you down?
Yeah,
For having gospel music.
that's right.
Holy crap. That's funny. They shut me down just now. And I don't know if they shut me down because it was an accident. If it was I thought it was maybe a technical issue because, we love to have technical issues in here. But I thought they shut me down because of because of that reason. And you're telling me right now that, holy crap, I don't believe that. You just blew my mind. I don't know if you blew the rest of the audience's mind, but you just blew my mind. So if they shut you down, what chance do I have? A big mouth like me talking about things that I think are fair or think they're not fair.
They don't care, man.
Wow.
They don't care.
I don't believe that.
They don't care. We've been doing it for a while, and every time they do it, I go right back on.
Oh, now you got my nerves on another level. Now you got me actually amplified even more. I was going to try to be cool, calm, and collective about this and try to be as logical and even cool. But if you're telling me they did that to you, that is insane. For what? For having gospel music?
Yeah.
That's not right. That is not right. Wow.
Big tech, man, what can I tell you?
Big tech. Holy crap. That's Big Brother.
Big brother, that's right.
You remember that book, 1984?
I read that book.
Well, yeah. I'm glad you did because sooner or later it's not going to exist.
It's coming.
They're going to make that book disappear.
Yeah.
Unbelievable. Unbelievable. I don't believe that. Wow. Oh, man. You just had me change my train of thought right now.
Well, I showed it to you, so you know I ain't.
You didn't even have to show me. I believe it. I'm shocked. And the thing that it shocks me even more is the fact that you run a clean show.
My listeners always get upset about that. They want to know what's up with that.
What's controversial about gospel music?
Not a thing.
Wow. All right. Yeah, you have more controversy now. There you go. I said we were going to try to keep this as a real estate show, and what we got was being stifled left and right. This is ridiculous. Who knows how much longer I'll have the airwaves? Who knows how much longer Facebook and YouTube and everybody else ends up keeping us on the waves. I'm not being controversial. I'm just speaking my mind. And hopefully they'll continue to allow me to say that. I'm not being divisive. I'm not necessarily saying anything really negative about one anything. Unless you're big tech, then you could take it as negative towards you. But you're not doing the right thing. Come on, Apple. Come on, Facebook. What are you doing? What are you doing? That's insane. How is this even acceptable? This is blowing my mind right now. This is completely blowing my mind. I am in shock, and I'm legitimately disturbed. I really am. I don't know what to say. All right, let's turn it around of how these actions right now tie into the real estate world. Okay. Now, as everybody that's listening right now knows, Zillow has not been a friend of mine. I have not been an advocate of Zillow. I do not like Zillow. I do not like the way they operate. Again, they're a private business. They can do anything they like. It's the fault of the consumer or the client that continues to use them that enables them. I've cut them off. I don't pay any more advertising to them. I don't use any of their paid services anymore. But why am I bringing up Zillow right now after I just got off the topic of big tech? Well, here's how it correlates. Once upon a time, they had this little tiny website called Zillow that started off and ended up getting a good foothold of the public and getting some major traction as far as people viewing it and getting good amount of traffic coming to their site, and ended up going and doing deals with various realtor organizations. Many of them local MLS boards. Now, we don't know what kind of deals they made and what it took for these MLS boards to sell out to a company like Zillow, because what ended up happening was they ended up giving them all the inventory that normally would have been exclusive to the MLS websites and the IDX type of feeds and cooperative type of sites, where they would be able to keep everything locally, and then they had some more national platforms like Realtor that they fed through. Realtor, by the way, back then was still owned by Realtor, and it wasn't owned by a different site, a different entity. And what ended up happening is they've got such a big grip and such big control of the web traffic that goes all real estate related, that basically they put themselves in a position where the MLS boards have no more strength. The groups don't have any more strength. The listings, the inventory that's being fed to Zillow, which is all coming from the MLS boards, is basically being retooled and resold back to the same exact realtors that are actually selling, that are actually providing them the data. Now you can say, what does that mean? What does it mean is they ended up, in their way, swallowing up all the major competitors. There was a big company called Trulia that they ended up swallowing. There was a big company called Street Easy. They ended up swallowing. And they collectively devoured another group of smaller sites as well. So how that ended up happening was the fact that they were enabled and they were allowed to do that. And I believe that's a form of antitrust in itself, because they monopolize the market. And I don't understand why the MLS Sports continue to feed them all the listing inventory and enable and allow them to continue to grow bigger and bigger. What kind of dealings are in the back that we don't know about? What kind of agreements were made? How much money was passed through in order to get these deals accepted? Because there better be some money that was paid out to make these deals happen. Because if there wasn't any money, that means whoever made the deal is a complete idiot. And I have no faith in being part of an organization that is run by complete idiots. But what's the alternative? Somebody that was corrupt that took money? We don't know. We don't know because they're not transparent and they're not clear. And they should be investigated. How is this correlating to big tech? Well, Zillow in the real estate world is big tech. But here's what else is happening right now. And what other people don't understand. All the videos that you're watching on different platforms, as far as the real estate videos, the real estate vlogs, the tutorials, what you're seeing right now, this live stream, because Facebook cut me off, you still got me on YouTube, at least I hope you do. Is coming in from big tech. Google, I love you, but you're messing up a little bit right now. Something's wrong. I had to say, Google, I love you, because hopefully that keeps me on the airwaves. Amazon, who shut down the servers for Rumble, that was a Freudian slip, because that's the major upcoming competitor that should be coming in for against the video platforms. But at the same time, I think they can get shut down before they even get any legs under them. So hopefully they last, but I don't know what's going to happen. But Amazon, who shut down Parler's servers, made a major deal with a company that I'm under, Realogy, which owns Coldwell Banker. They own Homes and Garden, Better Homes and Garden. They own Corcoran. They own ERA. They own a ton of real estate holdings. And they made a deal with Amazon as far as cooperation and working together on a program to increase business coming in strictly through Amazon, through a package that they're giving as an incentive for people to use one of Realogy's companies. Who's to say that deal won't turn into another nightmare, another Zillow nightmare? I'm hoping that it won't be the case. I'm hoping that it levels the platform and you have a viable second competitor. But I could promise you, sooner or later, Amazon's going to open up their own real estate portal, their own real estate platform. They're going to, take a stab at this. How well they're going to go, they got a lot of money to back them up. They don't got pipsqueak Zillow money. They got real money. Pipsqueak Zillow money. This is when you talk about billions and billions of dollars. It's amazing how high and how low on the totem pole you could go. But this could happen. This is my advice to everybody that's in our business, in the real estate business. Now, regardless if you're a real estate agent or a broker, you're a property manager, you're a marketing expert, or whatever your role is in the real estate business, we've become very reliant on a lot of the technology and a lot of the platforms that are out there. And you know what? They've been a tremendous help and they've been very useful. And I'm not going to dismiss that. YouTube, for example, that I'm on right now, is a really useful platform. Putting out the power of video free to the public is a big deal because you have the competitor, which is Vimeo, but it's a paid platform. Not everybody could access everything from there. But YouTube gives you paid and free services. But if you're putting stuff out there as a content provider, you could get it out to the masses in a very low cost way or in a high cost way. It all depends on what, um, how much you invest into it, just like any business. Quality production, etc., the equipment you use. Not everybody's low quality on the production like I am. Right now, I'm actually looking at the screen as I'm being filmed, and I'm looking on a separate feed just to make sure how it's coming out. And I could tell that the stream is coming out choppy, and I'm still not sure why this is happening. And this has been happening to me for the past month or so. And I'm using a 4K camera, which doesn't make any sense to me. But I digress. What I am trying to help everybody understand and prepare everybody in our real estate business is that if you're leaning and you're relying on the real estate technology that's available out there, whether it's photo technology, whether it's video technology, whether it's marketing technology, and you're relying on that big puffy, the big puffy cloud in the sky to save all your data and all your files, you better back it up. I strongly urge you to back it up, because if you don't back it up, that big, puffy, beautiful cloud in the sky could go poof, and it could disappear the same way it appeared. Think I'm wrong? It's going to happen at some point down the line where you're going to have some cloud disappear or some corruption of data, whatever the case is. Data is going to get lost, whatever the case is, and you're going to lose a lot of valuable information. And I strongly suggest that you back up everything. It doesn't hurt you to back up anything right now. Yeah, it might cost you a little bit extra money to have a bigger hard drive or to have a flash drive. I'll show you right now. Let me see. Let me see if I have. Oh, there we go. Of course I have it with me. You see this right here? See this little Ziploc bag I have right here? I know it's not the most fancy case. Right here, I have a hard drive. This is an external hard drive. Everything that I put on, that I work on, all the files, all the pictures, all the videos that I do, I back up on this hard drive. Okay? This works really well for me. It's got a couple of terabytes. I think it might have even 3 terabytes on this. Save it on there. And then what I do on top of that, I go back to my server, my primary computer, and I take this, because I have a huge hard drive on that one, and I back it up on there too. This is all in addition to that big puffy cloud that we save everything to. You think I'm paranoid and I go over the top as far as backing up my data? Maybe. Maybe I'm just like nuts and I'm over paranoid as far as wanting to keep all this information. But you know what? I'd rather be a little bit paranoid and I'd rather be a little bit nuts as far as keeping control over all my files and all my pictures and all my data and never losing it and having to put an extra amount of work on my daily basis because of it. Because, it takes time. I got to download this and then I got to go and attach it and download that. I waste another 10 minutes of my life by doing that. Maybe a day, whatever the case is. Well worth it. You see these things? These are flash drives. This flash drive right here is 256 gigabytes. I've got dozens of these. Why? Because I back up my files and I organize them in a different way. This flash drive, for example, has a bunch of pictures that are related to a certain region that I work in. Why? Because if I need it at that moment, boom, I stick it into the computer, the laptop, the tablet, wherever the case is. I get all the information I need. Don't lose it. If I don't have any Wi-Fi connectivity, I still have it. Because that's another thing. What if the internet goes down? What if we lose Wi-Fi access? How are you gonna get all your information back? How are you gonna control all your stuff? Don't lose control over your valuable information. Don't lose control over your valuable technology. Because what could happen is you could start from scratch and lose everything and have to and scramble to get everything done again. And you don't want to be put in that position. Believe me. It's not a great position to be in. You know, Trevor, I can't get it out of my mind. The fact that happened to you.
Big tech, man. What can I tell you?
As much as on a roll I get right now, and as much as the rant I'm getting right now, I cannot believe that happened to you. That's blowing my mind over something as simple as nice as gospel music.
I'm not the only one. I know a lot of guys that does the kind of show I do. They do the same thing to them too.
They just shut you off after 1 hour. Why is that?
I never knew. I asked, but I never get an answer. I can write a letter. I email.
And you do it from a private page, right?
Yeah.
It's
Okay.
it's not even a public page that
No.
the whole world could see or anything like that. That's crazy. Like I have a public page that like the public can see. Like what I was running right now, the show on Facebook with was a public page. So I guess if I say something that somebody finds a little bit offensive or whatever the case is, they could shut me down, whatever they want. Again, it's a private company, so they could do as they like. But why would they find gospel music offensive?
I don't think.
I could find whatever they say, whatever comes out of my mouth, I could see them finding offensive. Because look at his face; they're not going to like my face or whatever I say. So, but
I don't know.
like a nice, non-threatening man playing gospel music. I don't get it. I just don't get it. That's blowing my mind. It really is. I'm sorry about that. And I feel like we're constantly saying I'm sorry right now about everything.
I know. I used to do Periscope.
Okay,
They don't bother.
because it erases, right?
Periscope you can play it all day long and nobody bothered you,
But that doesn't stay on permanently, right? Periscope.
no, it doesn't stay on permanent. But at least you can have it for a day or two or whatever. Usually it'll tell you how long you want to keep it, 30 days or whatever it is, something like that.
But there's a shelf life on it. How long it can stay on? Almost like what they do with the Snapchat, right? So that's not a permanent platform. So that's why they keep it like that, because
Yeah.
I get that's Periscope's philosophy. If they chose to at any point to start censoring it, then they could do that themselves.
That's true.
And again, I'm not as upset about the direct censoring from these private platforms because, like I said, they have the right to do anything they like. They're a private company.
Right.
We don't have to use them.
No, that's true.
But where it really sticks it and upsets me is when they take away our alternatives. It really does. Like right now, we have AM/FM radio, right? What's the alternative? Sirius radio, right? But there is an alternative.
Always.
There is an alternative. So what happens one day? As much as I know, Sirius is a very bad word in the radio industry and AM/FM world. But as long as that Sirius platform exists, we at least have an alternative. If somebody wants to have a show where they say dirty jokes all day from morning to night, they have that platform on Sirius Radio. You can't do that on AM/FM.
But the best platform they have right now is internet.
Well, you got internet radio as well.
You can do a talk show, you can do music,
Hmm.
and well, the problem is when you do the internet, you have to get licensed to play the music because they consider that.
As regular radio. I get it. I get it. So my point is there's alternatives out there. Whether we like the alternatives or not, I'm okay with that. But what happens if one day they turn around and say, Sirius, we don't like what you're doing. We don't like that you have religious channel from morning to night. We don't like that you have a news channel from morning to night. We don't like the fact that you have the guy saying his dirty jokes from morning to night. Even though the people that are subscribing are adults and that's what they want to hear. We don't like that you have Howard Stern on your show. That's the reason he left. Because they kept stifling him and not letting him say what he wanted to say. So we don't have. What happens if they say no more? That's it. We're going to allow you to have only AM/FM stations, or you know what? You don't even need FM. You're going to have AM stations, and you're going to say exactly what we want to say. And if you don't say it, we're going to shut down your radio station.
That's true.
That's basically what they're doing right now. That's basically what they're doing right now, and that bothers me to no end.
There's a company, I don't remember the name right now, but they own about 500 AM stations. They send a letter out to all the talk show hosts. If you say one word about this election is not legal, you're out of here.
Good thing I'm not saying that. Good thing I'm not saying. You should have given me that ahead of time because maybe we would have slipped up. Was it Clear Channel?
No, it's a bigger one in Clear Channel. I'm trying to remember this guy got this. He's like Sling Theater. I forgot the name of him, but he got about 500 or 1,500 AM stations.
So they're already telling you, shut up.
Mm-hmm. Don't go on there.
You better not say something that's gonna.
Right.
We lost. You know we lost in 2020 more than anything else. Yes, we were in quarantine. Our nerves are shot. We were under lockdown. The fear of God came into all of us because of the coronavirus. The elections have put us all on edge. People are arguing left and right. Brothers and sisters can't stand each other. They can't even sit across the street, the same Thanksgiving table because they can't agree on anything. But you know what we lost? That was so important to all of us in our lives and this whole country and the very essence of this country, the right to agree to disagree. That's what we lost. And that for me,
always right, you're wrong.
that is for me the saddest thing of this whole situation. You are allowed to talk as long as I can tolerate your opinion, as long as it doesn't go against what I'm saying. Or if it is going against what I'm saying, it is not attacking my opinion. And that's a problem for me. It is such a problem. I'm so upset. I really am. I don't know. Have you seen the other radio hosts talking about this more and more? Because honestly, at one point I started shutting down the TV and shutting off the radio because I didn't want to hear anything anymore. It was bothering me so much.
Yeah.
But our right of free speech is under attack, and that is a major problem. It really is. And again, I spun it and I turned it into something that's real estate related. I explained to you why that disturbs me as far as my sector and my business is concerned, and it should disturb and bother everybody in the real estate business as well, and everybody that's listening to this, everybody that's a real estate agent, a broker, everybody that's a real estate professional that's affiliated to these MLS organizations and realtor groups. They need to question their groups and go to their leaders and say, why are you selling us out to Zillow? Why are you selling us out to Trulia and Realtor.com and Homes.com? And you're not showing us what you're doing for us. You need to go and talk to them about that before it's too late. Because one by one, you're going to lose every single alternative you have, and you're going to be in trouble. I promise you. You're going to be in very big trouble. And if you don't, I said about backing all your stuff up. If you don't back up your stuff, there's going to be a day where you're going to regret it. I hope I'm wrong. Play this back in 10 years and tell me, Nick, you were one of these alarmists that were completely wrong. And you know what I say? I'm glad I was wrong. And I have no problem admitting to being wrong. But I promise you I'm not. And I promise you my words are going to be ringing to anybody that's heard them years to come. Protect your information. You need to step up and speak up to your organizations, your realtor boards, and don't let what's happening to Parlor from big tech right now happen to you and your business through our own forms of big tech. But that being said, I'm out of time. They didn't shut us off yet, but Trevor's going to shut me off. Trevor, again, I'm sorry. I hope that next week I have the week off.
Okay.
So in case you don't see me next week, that's not because they shut me down. Well, maybe they did, but it's because it's a scheduled day that I won't be airing. The 18th, I won't be airing. However, I will play something pre-recorded on all the social media platforms and making sure that you at least have something to at least amuse yourselves by from the real estate plate. But that being said, Trevor, if they don't shut us down, we'll be back, what, the 25th?
25th.
I hope that we'll be back. Either that or, like I said, they'll put one of these things on me, and I won't be able to talk, and I'll have a recorded thing already. But that being said, have a great week, everyone. Have a great night. I hope I didn't chew people's ears off too much. Make lots of money in real estate if you still can, and they don't shut you down as far as your listing platforms. God bless, and I'll be back with you in a couple of weeks. You think that's going to annoy people when I say God bless?
This is WGBB AM 1240 and W240 FM 95.7.
Can't believe you didn't tell me about that. I really can't.
Yeah, it happened though, man.
I'm not joking. You think they'll get mad at me because I said God bless at the end of the show and shut me down?
Nah, they ain't gonna shut you down for that.
I hope not. It just came out. That's what that's what was said.
Right.
But looks like I'm still on actually. So let me shut off. Signing off.